Good evening, everyone. Wow, I'm just so happy to see everybody. Thank you so much, sincerely, for coming out, taking time out of your evening to be here with us today. I want you to sit back and relax. This is going to be very informative to everybody. Wow, I'm just a little overwhelmed. So give me just a moment. I'm happy. Excuse my voice, it's a little cracky. Shantae says allergy season. She said it, not me. But I just want to say to all of our District 4 family, so good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And to our visitors who you may not reside or work in District 4, we welcome you as well. We invite you into the District 4 family, as I often refer to us, because we're all here because of our community. And so tonight is about being one. It's not about party lines. It's not about district lines. It's about District 4 and all that comes in between for District 4. So I want us to be here, work together, learn together, ask questions, be engaged. Of course, as District 4 family, we are always respectful and tactful. As a Southern girl, my grandmother would have it no other way. So I know that this is what tonight is going to be about. So I know it seems all formal, and I gotta say, I know I look like Sunshine, and my son said I look like Big Bird, but I'm going with it, okay? I like my yellow dress. So in either case, I thank you all. So tonight, we're going to try to stay on course as best as possible, but I'm going to ask for some grace, because we have some phenomenal guests here with us tonight. We have some great people throughout our county departments, with our police departments and public works and transportation. We have representation from Foods Rep. We have representation from our newly elected state representatives. So we'll all get to meet all of them. And we even have some other electeds in the office, in the house, excuse me. So we're going to get to meet everybody, but please give us some grace. Although Shantae is going to be showing up a 5-minute card every time, and I'm going to say, I see you, Shantae. So, in either case, I do want to do this. I want to kind of give you some information of what you received when you came in. So there was lots of information from the police department, but you also received an agenda to try to keep me accountable. That's what this is all about. You also received information from our newly elected state representative, and some accomplishments of what we've done, work that we've done together throughout District 4. And then you got an index card. Shantae's flashing this index card. That is for you to engage with us. So throughout the evening, if you have a question, write it on the index card, put your hands up in the air. We have volunteers tonight that will pick up the cards. And if you want another card, they'll give you another card. Again, it's about us all being engaged. So before we kick off on everything, I want to acknowledge some people. So first, I acknowledge the principal of Hazelwood East High School. Would you please stand, sir, and come to the front real quick? He is our gracious host tonight. I know what you're thinking. He's too young to be a principal, right? A phenomenal, mighty man of God, a leader in our community. So come forward, sir. And he has definitely done a phenomenal job here, and he was a gracious host to me. So please,
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Granger, Chauncey Granger. Been principal here for 5 years. Excuse my attire tonight, we're on spring break, so we're running from track practice and want to make sure that you have a great experience tonight. So, welcome to Hazelwood East.
thank you, sir. So I love these accommodations, so I'm so grateful for his hospitality. Did you hear him say they on spring break? So they opened up the building for us. Okay, so we want to be good stewards of their graciousness, and so if you have any little candy, because I like to do a little chewing sometimes too, and drink a little water, please don't leave that in the auditorium. Please, let's make sure we just guard of it properly. Okay? Also, I wanted to acknowledge our volunteers at the beginning. So raise your hand if you're volunteering. Mr. Drew, Mr. John, Miss Tammy, and all the crew outside, Miss Cookie. thankful. I just ask, and people come and serve, and I appreciate their goodness in their heart. So thank you all so much for volunteering. Of course, before I go into formal introductions, we got to acknowledge Shantae, everybody. Come on now. Y'all talk to Shantae more than y'all talk to me. There is the famous Shantae. Not Shantae Roxanne, though, but again, we are a partner in this. We do this together. I know she's the district assistant, but together we work through this. She balances me, she keeps me accountable, and somebody said we like a one-two punch knockout. I set them up real nice and pretty and smile and say, thank you so much. And then Shantae come behind me and just punch me square dead in the nose. So she covers me as well. I have to acknowledge my husband. Stephen, please stand up. Where's Stephen? Where is he? Oh, there you go. I know you my husband, well. No, that's my husband over there. Oh, no, sir. So Stephen is my husband. He's a great provider, a great protector. And he also is a great graphics designer and strategist. And so this lovely piece of work that you have in your hand was designed and put together by my husband, and I thank him for that, sharing his talent with us. Now I get to move on to our elected officials. And so if you are an elected official in the House, I am doing this because these are your constituents as well. We are all in this, as I have the leadership meeting with each tier leadership from local, state, and federal level. We work together. We meet quarterly, and we have initiatives that we're working on, from food insecurities, and they still will be taught with Jamestown Mall as well. So if you are an elected official in this region, could you please, in this district, would you please stand up? Please, please, please. Don't be scared. Be safe in here. I see committeemen. I see committeemen. I see committeemen. I also see the mayor from Blackjack, council members from Jack Jack, Mr. Hinkle, and also a councilwoman from Blackjack, Miss Tina Faye. She's screaming out names here. I'm not like I'm remembering all this. So again, thank you all for joining us. And if we have time, oh, Miss Reed. Miss Reed, our committee woman for Spanish Lake. Hi, Miss Reed. Thank you for coming out this evening, ma'am. Awesome, awesome. It's a blessing to have you here and your daughters. I appreciate you all and your support. Now, everybody, we're going to talk with our special guests and acknowledge them. Oh, I just saw at the corner of my eye and it reminded me. We have two members of some boards that are in the House as well that represent our district. So first I want to acknowledge Ms. I almost called you so Ms. Ruth Lee. She is now the Vice Chair of the Port Authority. She is our District 4 representative. So if you don't know her after the meeting, please introduce yourself to her. And this newly appointed member of the St. Louis County Crime Commission, Mr. Rob Dobbs. Would you please stand up and acknowledge him? So we know crime is on all of our minds. Here he is. And he is represented as well. He is a former employee of the Boeing Company. He's also been in the military. And so, again, thank you, Mr. Dobbs, for your willingness to serve. She's calling 15 minutes in. So I want to make sure we know who are on our panel tonight. And so they will introduce themselves and give their titles when they come forward. But we have representation from the St. Louis Department of Public Works, or Transportation of Public Works, sitting here with us. Wave, gentlemen, please, please, please. Adams there for transportation. We also have representation from the FRUSRAP organization, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Could you all please be acknowledged and raise your hands, please? And you'll get a chance to actually introduce yourself and say your names when we get to your portion of the program, or of the meeting. It's not a program. It's a meeting and a discussion with family from District 4. We have the police chief from St. Louis County, and also Chief Gregory, and we also have Officer O'Fallon, Sergeant. I'm gonna work on this. Sergeant O'Fallon. We also have with us this evening representation from the Port Authority that are speaking on our behalf and giving us an update from Jamestown Mall. So would you ladies please raise your hand? They'll be coming forth shortly. And then we have our newly elected state representative, Ms. Chantel Nixon Clark. Ms. Clark, would you raise your hand and go ahead and come on up. was just recently elected this past year, and she started serving in January. And so she's doing a phenomenal job. We've been partnering on quite a few endeavors for our community. And so at this time, I'm going to give 5 minutes to Ms. Clark.
5 minutes, y'all. I'm going to try to stick to it. I have a lot to cover. But first, I wanted to say thank you all for coming out. I just wanted to simply give a heartfelt thank you to all my constituents that have prayed for me along my breast cancer journey, and I wanted to give you guys an update that I am now cancer-free. So I couldn't go any further without thanking you all, because you guys inspired me, empowered me, educated me along the campaign journey, and this is our first time meeting back since I've been in office, so I'm not gonna waste my 5 minutes. Okay, so we got a lot to cover. Many of you may have seen that we've been in the news quite a bit these last couple of days. It's been pretty rough in Jeff City, and we want to let everybody know that we are not going down without a fight. Okay, and some of the most important things that I wanted to touch on tonight was the corporate income tax elimination, open enrollment, and budget additions. And with the corporate income tax elimination, what it does is it will eliminate any taxes that the corporations, major corporations, have to pay. And with that elimination, what it does, it cripples our schools, it cripples the education, healthcare, childcare, food security, broadband access, housing, and I mean, you name it. And so Missouri is one of the states that have the lowest income tax rate, corporate tax rate. And so we are really fighting to make sure that this does not happen. Not only does it cripple all of the things that I mentioned, but it's just not a way to inspire other corporations to come to Missouri. We know that Missouri has not, or St. Louis has not been a top priority. A lot of the corporations are going to Kansas City and other areas. So we want to entice and we want to inspire corporations to come, but this one that has been presented on the House floor does not do that. Next slide. So we'll talk about the open enrollment. As you all seen, open enrollment, Republicans are really, are really pushing to do open enrollment. And what happens with open enrollment, it allows the school districts, students to go to any school district. And they can switch from year to year. They can switch as many times as they would like. Some schools can opt out, some schools may not. But what it does, it cripples our community. We have some winners, we have some losers, and some people may not even be accepted. So there are really no restrictions on who can be accepted, who can be denied. If you have a child with disabilities, they may not be accepted into another school district because the receiving school district does not have to accommodate children with disabilities. So these are another issue that we are trying to fight against at the House. Most importantly, we have the budget supplement. Some of the things that we are debating about, there were a lot of budget cuts this year. We had 357 million cuts from K through 12 in education. We had 126 million cut taken out of the Department of Mental Health, 811 million slash funding from the I-70 expansion project, 79 million cut from child care providers, 56 million cut for pay for the early education program. Also, the Missouri libraries, there was an actual complete elimination from funding for the Missouri libraries. This is such a gut-wrenching announcement, but we are hoping that once it passes in the House, that the Senate will kind of take care of that. We are praying that that happens. make sure. So budgets are our priorities, and zero out the items from child care subsidy and public preschools for low-income folks shows that, you know, we have to really align our priorities, okay? And so we're fighting each and every day to try to get that funding returned. Next slide. So you guys should have received a survey from me in the mail, and I have read each and every survey, 40,000 constituents in my district. I have hand opened and read each and every survey. You asked that I be more present and that your voices be heard, and I promise to do exactly that. And so tonight I have comprised a chart of the top spending priorities that you asked of me. And so we got mental health at 25%. We have health and senior services at 28%. Education at 27%. Infrastructure, 21%. Excuse me. And then, yes. And then the police and crime at 13%. And so those are what we have outlined as the top priorities as I serve in the House of Representatives. One other thing that was one of the questions that was in the survey was that did we want sports betting? And a lot of you voted for sports betting. So you do have my support in that. And we have delegated that the funding and the taxes from the sports betting will be designated to go toward education. And I believe that's it. That's my 5 minutes. So before I go, if you guys do not have my information, the information is up there. You can scan the QR code that's up there. It goes directly to all of my information. You can email me, you can call me. And also, if you did not receive a survey, they have some out when you get ready to walk out. And if you would, please mail it back. And I did just want to share with you all, as I was coming up through junior high and high school, one of the accomplishments was that we would always visit the Capitol to learn about making the laws. And you know, we don't hear about that anymore. And so I am honored to say that I have partnered with Hazelwood East Middle, with Sparkle from the PTA department, and the kids are now going to take field trips to come and learn about what it is and how to make laws. So if you guys need me for anything, please don't hesitate to please give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative. I always say that I am supportive of all leadership that is about getting the job done, moving the needle. We don't have time to check box anything anymore. We have been passively led in our community for way too long. But leaders like Chantel Nixon Clark, like Mr. Hinkle that's running for mayor in Blackjack, I partner with them, even him as a council member, because they are sincere about getting work done and hearing from all of our community. Regardless of your preferences, we represent everybody. So thank you again, Representative, and you're doing a phenomenal job. It's so good to know that you're doing better. At this time, we will be going into our police update. And so as the Chief Gregory comes forth and Sergeant O'Fallon, I just want to let you know we're just listening now, but we will have a question and answer period. So to keep moving along, Chief Gregory, would you please come to the front? And after Chief Gregory, Sergeant O'Fallon. Thank you so much, sir.
Good evening. Chairperson, you should charge admission with all these people here. And you know, it's great to see you guys here tonight too. You know, I've always said at these town hall meetings, you know, the thing that helps us do our job is to hear from what the citizens in our neighborhood say. Give us some ideas as to what we need to do, what you want to see on our department. This year, January this year, we started our new 5-year strategic plan. And one of the things that we did this year that we hadn't done in the past is that we did surveys. We got surveys from our young officers on our department, to have them give us some kind of idea as to what they wanted to see the police department do in the next 5 years. And another thing that we did that we had never done before is that we sent out surveys to the citizens. We asked them to give us some kind of idea as to what they wanted to see the police department do. And we got great responses. We had about 300 to 400 responses from the citizens, and a lot of those ideas were incorporated into our strategic plans. So that's how we do our job. That's what helps us do our job, is to hear from you, to hear what you want to see get from us as a police department. We got a lot of things going on right now, and I'll just let you know that I'll probably get 1,000 questions from you about expired license plates, about speeding, and all of that stuff. I know I'll get that, and I'm going to give you the best answers and response that I can about those things. And so will Sergeant O'Fallon. Our biggest issue right now is juvenile crime. And juvenile crime, one of the hardest things about juvenile crime is prosecuting juveniles. That's one of the hardest things that we have to do, is prosecute juveniles, because they have their own rights, being that they are juveniles, and it's hard for us to put them away. Well, get them home to their parents is what we need to do. And that's just what happens. They do a violent crime, and because of the rights of juveniles, they're really released back to their parents, and they go home, and they're not confined. There's no consequences for what they do. So that is a big problem with us, not just for St. Louis County Police Department, but for police departments throughout the counties, in the city also. Another problem that we're having right now is auto thefts. If you look at our crime numbers right now, auto thefts are up probably about 126%. That means that, they are stealing cars like crazy. And, these juveniles, again, I talk about these juveniles, they understand, they learn what we can do and what we can't do as police officers. That's part of what they do, is they learn just what we can do. So they'll steal a vehicle, and we'll try to stop that vehicle for whatever reason, and they take off. You know why they take off? Because they know that we can't chase them. They know that we can't chase them. They learn our rules. Another thing that's happening with these juveniles is that they're put up to do crime by adults, because the adults know they're not going to be prosecuted. It gets the juvenile, they do their job, and they get released. So those are some of the negative things that are going on in police work, and like I said, it's not just us, it's nationwide. One other thing that we're having problems with is hiring. Representative talked about budget cuts. They cut our budget $7 million this year, $7.5 million this year, with crime going up the way that it is. And that hurts us, okay? I have a hard time filling beats. Police officers are leaving the profession for whatever reason, and it makes it hard for us to fill beats. You'll talk, Sergeant O'Fallon will tell you, just in her precinct alone, in the 3 months of this year, they've had like 28,000 radio calls. 28,000 radio calls. That's when someone calls the police and they want the police to respond for one reason or another. They've had 28,000 of them. So you understand why it's hard for us to get out there and write tickets for tickets for speeding, expired plates. These all and community engagement. That takes away from our community engagement, because if these officers are going from one call to the next, they don't have time to sit down and talk with the citizens about what's going on, what's positive in their neighborhoods. They just don't have that time to do that. And that's because, budgets cut. And one of the reasons they cut our budgets, again, I mentioned the fact that people are leaving the police profession for whatever reason. They're not going from one department to the next. They're getting out of it. I think families, some of these spouses are seeing the danger in this job. Pay is low, and again, you're responding to one call after another. So again, it's a lot going on. Positive thing, you guys got a new precinct coming, being built next to the, it's about time. It blew my mind the other day that I'm driving down 367, and I looked at the old station, already they got a police sign on the building up there. So they know that we're ready to get out of there. This is going to be a great facility up here. It's going to be a place where we can have meetings like this at the police station. And And a lot of that had to do with what Chairperson Webb had to do with the county council and getting us the money to do that. So there's a lot going on. We got poll cameras coming. You go by the first precinct now, you'll see a poll camera up there. We're going to use those to help us fight crime. Force multiplier. Again, don't have the police officers out there doing what we want them to do. As many cameras out there will help us fight crime. So we got one of those up at the first, and we're looking to get some more. Hiring, retention, I mentioned that, budget cuts, got all of that kind of taken care of. We started a crime commission again. Welcome to the crime commission. We had our first meeting a couple months ago. We're going to do that every quarter. Dr. Page started that up again, so hopefully we can come up with some solutions to fighting crime. I know that's 4 to 5, but I can see you waiting. So
That's okay, we got you.
keep going. Again, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. We'll stick around for any questions afterwards.
My name's Sergeant O'Fallon. I'm in the 1st Precinct. I kind of have a lot of different roles right now, but currently I'm in charge of the neighborhood police officers, Wesley Bell and Jason Capello. I need about double of them. But before we get into more of those issues that we all experience, I wanted to introduce our captain.
Tony Cavalletti. I am the commander of the North County Precinct. I'm sorry I'm not there in person with you this evening, but due to a prior engagement, I cannot attend. I've completed a few videos in the past discussing different topics. I've been contacted by you, members of the community, in person, by phone, and by email regarding those videos. Thank you for reaching out, and more importantly, thank you for being there this evening. Sergeant Terry O'Fallon is there tonight and will go over some of the projects we are working on for you. But before she presents, I want you to know that we are continually working on matters that are important to you. Many of the community complaints we receive are regarding traffic issues, expired temporary tags, and illegally parked vehicles. We understand these quality of life issues are always a top priority in the community. We also take them very seriously. We have done multiple special enforcement activities regarding improper vehicle registrations, speeding, and other moving violations. We are moving our calming devices throughout neighborhoods, hoping to gather data and using that information to deploy appropriate personnel to help combat traffic issues. We know that vehicle theft is still a big problem. We continually work to stop these crimes and have multiple activities in place to help lower the numbers. I would also like to talk about some of our community events. We had our first Coffee with a Cop last week. Thank you to those who were able to make it out. We have an active shooter training for church congregations coming up soon. Sergeant O'Fallon will give you information regarding the training. We are always looking for ways to engage the community and look forward to doing more in the future. I want you to know we are listening to your concerns and doing what we can to help with all the issues that affect our community. We will continue to listen and be here for you. We will work together with you and face these issues head on. I look forward to meeting you soon. Thank you, and as always, stay safe.
Again, thank you all for coming out. It's important that we're coming to these events to gather information and to be with one another. So first things first, our new precinct is scheduled to be completed on November 21st of 2023. We all look forward to the space. We've outgrown the old building a long time ago, and we've had it for a very long time. It's a nice building, but we're ready to move on. Just a couple of numbers. I know that's a lot of information right there, okay? But I want to highlight the motor vehicle theft. Currently, we're up, during the time of this, which was earlier this month, it was 109%. We do have a couple of car clubs at the precinct. If anybody needs one, there's a limited number. We ask that we only have them for Kia and Hyundai owners. That's the main issue right now. We are working on trying to get some more, but we do have a limited amount right now. Our homicides, we've had 6 this year, 5 have been cleared, the other one is recent. They are working diligently to identify the suspect. Something along with juvenile crime. It's getting warmer. It's going to be summer soon. School's going to be out. Juvenile curfew violators will not be tolerated. The thing that everybody wants to know about is, what are we doing? What tickets are we writing? Here we are. So this year we've kind of tried to figure out some ways to get our officers out there while they're responding to the 28,417 radio calls this quarter. We've also been out there writing tickets, all right? So for the first quarter so far, we have written 629 registration violation tickets, 204 speeding tickets, 453 insurance violation tickets, 234 license tickets, 119 signs and signals tickets, and about 200 other tickets, all right? So we've been out there. We're doing a lot of different things out there, and we're definitely trying to address your concerns. We've got the precinct officers, we've got a violent crime initiative, we've got officers from the highway safety unit, we've been doing special enforcement. So we hear you, we're out there, we're trying. And something to kind of go along with that, we're trying to find ways to motivate the officers. We're bringing back Officer of the Quarter. In order to do that, we'd like to offer them some kind of incentive. So we've got a couple things that we've been doing within the precinct, but we also want to kind of highlight this North County Police Business Association that's been started. Essentially, it's a way for the community and the police department to continue to grow their relationships, to continue to work together. There's more information on that up here, and if you scan the QR code, and there was flyers out front as well. A couple of the community events that we have coming up. We just had our first Coffee with a Cop. We're trying to do it quarterly at least. So we did our first one last week. We have not planned our second quarter yet, so if you guys are aware of a business that would like for us to come and visit with people, I'm all ears. Come talk to me. We've got a active shooter training. Pastor Lily, where are you? There she is. Pastor Lily is hosting an active shooter training event on April 8th, just down the street at 11955 Benham Road. And we want to get as many people as we can there, but we please ask that you register so we know how many people are coming. It is a free event, so I encourage all of you to come. We've got a couple other things that are, I think they're pretty cool. We've got a barbecue with badges coming up in the summer for a back-to-school event. We're partnering up with Hazelwood, actually. Hazelwood, what, West, who was that?
Hazelwood School District.
Right, okay, I didn't know the particular person. To get students maybe some things to go back to school. We've also got National Night coming out. If you have a subdivision and you are wanting to host a National Night Out event, contact one of our NPOs or me at the First Precinct. We also have, last year we did it, we're doing it again this year, Shop with a Cop. We're seeking eligible candidates. We're looking for families that are going to be really in need of something special for Christmas. So if you guys know of somebody, please, I urge you to reach out to me or one of the officers and get me that information. There is more information on the active shooter training. We do have a Citizens Police Academy that was supposed to start tonight that got postponed. If you're interested in joining the Citizens Police Academy, there's information right there. There's a QR code. There was some flyers up front. I believe they're all gone. But if you guys would like one, I could get you one. But it's going to start up next week. And last but not least, we are hiring. If you guys know of any eligible candidates, please bring them our way. The next class is set to start on June 26th of this year. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Chief Gregory and Sergeant O'Fallon. In just one moment, we are changing this dynamic in our relationship with our community policing. We have to participate in their events. We have to show up because they need to know that we have their back just as much as they have our back with those $28,000 calls that we have every year. And I have this quarter. And I have to say this, Precinct 1, the precinct that serves us, has 10 times, if not 100 times, in my opinion, more calls than any other precinct in the county. That's a lot. We have to make sure that they're mentally strong. We have to give a pass for their relief and get more police officers that care about our community. And when I say they care, everybody, every time I call, they show up. Whether we're doing donkey rides at Castle Point, whether we're doing the concert at Live Church, whether we're doing a cleanup in Castle Point, or now we're starting them in Glasgow, they are there. They are not giving us lip service. I vouch for Precinct 1. I stand tall for Precinct 1 because they are there. And they're not just treating us as if they're passing through. They treat us as if they live here. And I know Sergeant and the Captain and Chief, if they feel we have any reports that someone is not being respectful of a member of our community that's concerned, they hold them accountable. So I need us to be held accountable and show up. Coffee with cops should be packed out. I mean, if y'all start serving Mountain Dew with cops, I'll show up. I'll show up too. But again, we gotta be there. I wanna prove to this community, to this region, that North County is a jewel, and it starts with this partnership. It's not just law enforcement, everybody. We all have some skin in this game. So let's show up. Those who are interested in citizens policing, show up. Mr. Dobbs has shown up to be on the police commission because we want to deal with juvenile crimes and we want to deal with a crime summit in our community. So again, I ask you all to show up for them like they're showing up for us, because they are changing, they are transforming, and that's what they need our support to do, to transform. So with that, thank you all so much for being here. Again, we're sharing information, we'll get to questions, start writing it down, throw them up in the air, don't fall asleep on me. This is for all of us. At this time, we'll be going into our Jamestown update. I saw the car, Shantae. Anyway, now we're going to have our Jamestown updated, and we have two members that represent the Port of, oh, I thought it changed, the Port Authority. So we have been working intentionally. It's not by happenstance. I remember bothering Miss Jackie, 3 years ago, but even before I was elected. Said, Miss Jackie, we're going to have to do something. I'm here long term. I'm not afraid of hard. Let's get it done. And I've been bothering her ever since, she and her partner, Miss Elizabeth. I also have, as I stated, our new chair of the Port Authority. And so Miss Jackie and Miss Vice Chair, I apologize, Miss Ruth, she is here as well. So after you all speak, if you all will allow Miss Ruth a couple of minutes to address our community, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, Miss Jackie, Miss Elizabeth, it's all yours.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Beth Noonan. I work with Jackie Wellington's my partner. We work with Community and Economic Development Solutions, and we provide staff support to the St. Louis County Port Authority. So they have asked us to join us. All right, so we just wanted to give you a brief update about where we are with the Jamestown Mall property, where the port is, and sort of the next steps. The port did complete asbestos remediation as well as the removal of universal waste from the entire mall facility. That was completed about a year ago. That work is necessary in order for the property to be prepared for demolition. So all that kind of stuff has to come out before we can demolish the property. Asbestos, you probably all know, universal waste is really the kind of stuff that you usually find in commercial buildings like light bulbs and ballasts and thermostats and things like that. All those things have to be removed from the building before it can be demolished, because it has to be disposed of specifically because they are considered hazardous kinds of materials. Although we have them in our buildings and they're up here right now. So that has been completed. A second step that we have done in the port actually recently finalized, they commissioned a market feasibility study. The goal of this study was to identify potential redevelopment scenarios that would work from a market perspective, that there was an actual demand for it, as well as an opportunity to evaluate those by the community so that it aligns with community interests and desires. So That report is available. It's all 200 and some odd pages of it are available online. There is you can see up there the ImagineJamestownMall.com website. There's all of the information that went into the study, all of the different kinds of items, and then the final report is up there. Just briefly, because it is a long study, there were the preferred use, the recommended preferred use out of the study was to develop an ag-food technology campus. The idea, that was something that was identified as feasible from a market perspective, but also a possibility and there was interest and support from the community that participated in the study. So that was the preferred use. The reason for that is that ag and food tech is a very important industry cluster in the St. Louis region, so it's an opportunity to support, we have a great foundation in existing corporations. We have the Danforth Plant Science Center that is in Creve Coeur, and all of the work that's being done there along with the innovation community, so we have a lot of startups. This is an opportunity to bring some of that economic activity and development to St. Louis, to North St. Louis County. So that is an opportunity and to grow jobs. So that was the preferred use. The second selection was actually a residential option that had some commercial activity. By and large, the feedback that our consultants received from the community is they did not necessarily want a typical residential development, but one that did get a lot of positive feedback from the community was a sort of senior, and I say senior loosely because it's 55 and plus, and I don't consider myself a senior yet, agri-source focused kind of development. So it would be a senior development for active older adults with a focus on community gardens, outdoor kinds of living things, and so that would have a sort of a niche, and then also to some commercial. So those were the two scenarios that received the most interest from the community and ended up being those that were recommended in the study. I encourage you, if you didn't participate, if you could go look at the website and go through the study and get more detail about it. I will say these are concepts for the site. We have a lot of work to do, and Jackie's going to go into our next steps. So that's something that's down the road, but those are the two things that came out of the study. So thank you, and I'll hand it over to Jackie.
As Beth said, I'm Jackie Wellington. Beth and I are partners with Community and Economic Development Solutions. Now that we have the environmental remediation all taken care of, we're moving towards the next step, which is basically what everybody's waiting for, is the demolition of the mall. While the market analysis was ongoing and the environmental remediation was underway, we started working on the plans and specifications for the demolition of the mall. Right now, they're about 95% complete. The only reason they're not 100% complete is because the funding sources and their requirements have to be built into those documents before we can actually go out for bids for the general public. So for right now, thanks to the efforts of Chair and Councilwoman Webb, we now have $6 million from the state of Missouri and an additional $6 million that's coming from St. Louis County. As of today, that's a big thing. We've done a phenomenal job. As of today, we have an executed agreement with the state of Missouri for that funding. The county council approved an ordinance allocating the additional county resources about 3 weeks ago. So we're still in the process of finalizing that agreement. Once we have that in place, we'll have all of the requirements, regulations, rules that we have to adhere to in order to spend these funds. They will be incorporated into the documents, and then we'll be in a position to put it out on the street for bids. We do not know how long the demolition will take until we actually put it out and have contractors come back and give us their timelines for it. We can't really say exactly how long it'll take in order to do that. One thing I'd like to mention though is Beth mentioned the Imagine Jamestown website. That website is going to stay live so that we can continue to put information on it as the process moves forward. So when we get to the point where we're issuing a request for proposals for demolition, that information will be put on the website. One of the things that I'll mention with that is over the course of probably the last year, we have been compiling a list of demolition contractors and other contractors that are potentially interested in bidding on this project. So we hope to get a very strong response and very competitive bids coming in. One of the other things that we have to be very aware of are the minority participation requirements. And so that's something that we're looking very closely at to make sure that there's a representative group that's involved in the demolition of the project. So with that, the next steps, as I indicated, is the finalization of the bid documents that have to be distributed very broadly through the community to find a contractor. Once that's done, that agreement is put in place and executed, we anticipate the building will come down. Once the building comes down, the plan is to demolish all of the existing structures above grade. We will regrade the entire site so that it's more of a flat site. Right now it's not flat because of the way the buildings are situated on it, but it'll be totally regraded so that whoever comes in to develop it, they don't have to go through that. So you'll see a big grass field until we get to the point where we can actually identify a developer. While we're doing the demolition and throughout this entire process, we have been having conversations with potential developers that may have some interest in coming in and redeveloping the site. There have been no decisions made. No one has been designated to be a developer because we do have to issue a request for proposals for that. The Port Authority, as Ms. Ruth knows, is a quasi-public entity, and as such, it's a governmental entity, and we have to go through governmental processes with everything we do. So a lot of times it looks like it's taking a long time to get things done, but it's because of all the rules, regulations, processes that are in place. But we just want you to know that the Port Authority is working as expeditiously as possible to get the building demolished and to try to identify a new development for that. With that, Commissioner Lee, I'll give you the microphone.
Hello everyone, how is everyone tonight? Good information, isn't it? The only thing that I want to request as the Vice Chair of the Port Authority is that when we demolish Jamestown, we are having a party. That's all I want to do. I don't care about anything else. I'm not sure how we can do it, but I will certainly make sure that I ask about it. I also wanted to make sure that this audience understands that we still listen to you, we hear you, we understand your needs and your wants for Jamestown Mall. I think, though, there's a way to take advantage of that. So the Port Authority has a meeting every month. And at the beginning of that meeting, we have audience participation. And if you want to voice your opinion, then you can sign up to do that. And we rarely have people to do that. This is critical time. They talked about the top two options, and we need to hear your voice. It's very, very important. And I could share with you that Chairperson Webb is not only on me, but she's on them. And I hear it every month, and that's a good thing because she represents you to the best of her ability. I want her to run for President of the United States. I know what she thought I was going to say, but when I share with you the support that she has and the voices that she has for you as it relates to Jamestown Mall, I cannot say anything more but understand that she is there for you, and I am too. So as an appointed official, I represent you as well. So I want to hear your voice. I want to make sure that you know, because as they know, I am almost her twin in meetings. Yes. But I won't take up any more time. I just wanted to say thank you. I wanted to introduce myself to you. Thank you for the invitation. And make sure, if you have a voice, to sign up to speak at our meetings. It is very critical that the rest of the commissioners hear exactly what you want and how you want it to be. And we think it's very important to hear your voice as well. And as Beth and Jackie stated, they're doing a phenomenal job. They keep us on our toes. I know it's taken a long time, but believe me, we are going through the process and it will get done. So the next time I see you, we're going to be partying. I'm just going to say that. All right? Thank you.
That's our representation on the Port Authority. I don't know if they thank you or they hate you for it, but she definitely makes sure our voice is heard. And it might be because she's my sorority sister, I don't know. But she's done a phenomenal job, and she's been engaged from the very beginning. And she's not being passive about, we gotta hear your voice. And I know everybody can't be at everything, but it's important that we connect. And we've given you our connections on how to contact us. Please do that. On the back of my brochure, I said, I want to hear from you. I need to hear from you. The same for Commissioner Ruth Lee. Thank you, Ms. Beth. Thank you, Ms. Wellington, for being here and sharing that update. That was a necessity. Nothing's up here today by happenstance. You email me, you call me, you text me on my phone 2 o'clock in the morning about what's important to you. I might not respond exactly at 2:05, but I do respond. So everything's here is for you. You asked for it. Oh, I sound like that TV show. Okay, it is for you. So take it in, throw up a question. I haven't seen too many go up, so either we're doing a phenomenal job here, come on volunteers, we have some questions up here, or you're falling asleep. And I tried to bring y'all some snacks, but I didn't want y'all to leave that trash. So anyway, moving along, everybody. We will keep moving, we will keep pressing. Next up is our Department of Transportation. So before these gentlemen come up, we have from the Department of Transportation, Mr. Adam Spector, who's been working on some key projects for us. And once again, as Commissioner Ruth says, and Ms. Beth and Ms. Wilson, I bothered him a lot. Like, I need something done right now. So, but they've always been responsive. So this whole perception that the county don't work for us, we gotta stop it. Because I know that they do. Because I ping them and they are accountable, because I make sure that they're accountable. We're not going through the motions. What I said before, we don't have time for checkbox. We need to move the needle. And Mr. Spector, who's here, will give us some update on some urgent projects that he's worked for us. And then we also have members of the Public Transportation Public Works team that can give us some updates on, just here to answer some questions in this Q&A time about what they've been doing with some of the projects and some additional funding that they have, that I was intentional to make sure they have, because they are the smallest department that have the biggest jobs sometimes. And it's not fair. You're trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip. They're doing the best that they can with a small team. And now we've gotten funding to make their team, what, double in size, I think? And we got some new equipment y'all supposed to get for us, right? So I'm checking on it. But at this time, Mr. Spector, Mr. Adam, please come forward.
Hi, my name is Adam Spector. I'm the North and West Area Engineer for the St. Louis County Department of Transportation, which makes me the engineer to English translator for our department. So I'm going to try and avoid giving the lessons tonight of teaching these things and translating everything, so we can save that for questions and answers. But just to kind of give you an idea of what we're doing, we're trying, the 2 biggest complaints we get are about pavement condition and speeding. So I've been hearing you when you complain about that. We're on it. When it comes to speeding, we're trying some different things now. We're trying to add some tools to our toolbox, and we're trying to do things a little differently. Unfortunately, doing things differently and adding those tools is going to cost more money that we don't have, which of course kind of hurts us on that pavement condition side. So when it comes to fixing roads, it's taking us a little longer because we're trying to do more. And I want to explain a little bit about what those tools are and how we're doing things a little differently, so hopefully you can understand why we're taking a little longer to do these things. So the big thing when it comes to speeding is something called traffic calming. We're trying to change the way that people drive on the roads. We want to make a road that makes people want to drive more appropriately. You know, we talk about, when we talk about streets, there's 3 E's that we talk about. There's education, engineering, and enforcement. Enforcement is where the police come in, they're writing the tickets, and they're doing what they can. And we've been relying a little too much on that in the past, and we're trying to change that a little bit to make their jobs a little easier and make our jobs a little easier. Education is the part where, you know, we need people to learn to drive better. We need people to do things like pay attention and follow the rules of the road, be considerate of other people using the roads, whether it's other drivers, whether it's people walking, whether it's people on bicycles. All those people are users of our system, and we need that education component to make people aware of that as well. When it comes to the engineering, we're talking about the physical road itself. And so we've got a few projects in the works right now that will be coming out in the next year or so that are going to try and change some roads to do some things a little differently. So one neighborhood on Cadigan Lane in Spanish Lake, we had an issue where people were going around a curve in a subdivision at very excessive speeds. I mean, this is a subdivision street, it's residential, and when we went out to do data collection, we found people going 60 miles an hour through there. And obviously, I think we can all agree that people should not be driving 60 miles an hour on residential streets and neighborhoods. So we've tried the enforcement. That's not making a big dent in the problem. We've tried education by putting up signage that, hey, there's a curve here and, you know, drive slower. That hasn't been working. So what we tried next was we tried actually closing the road off so that now that subdivision is broken into two parts, and that disincentivizes people to cut through from one side of the subdivision to the other. And because of that closure, it causes people to drive slower because they don't have as long a stretch of concrete that they can speed up on. So we put out barricades and we closed off the road, and we found that people were driving slower. There's still people who are being very disrespectful, and they're driving around the barricades and people's lawns and things. And, you know, that again, you know, there's only so much we can do, but we're going to try and make this a permanent closure now. And we're going to actually remove the pavement in the next few weeks, and we're going to plant trees, and we're going to make it look like that road does not go through anymore, so that it looks like it's a slow area where there's a neighborhood and people can be and not be driving at high speed. So that's something we're trying out. You know, of course, this requires effort to go out and remove pavement, and we're going to be doing that with our own people. So, you know, trying to do this as cheaply as possible, but just show that it's something that we can do, and it's something that we can roll out in other places if we need to. So that we're moving quickly on, so I didn't have anything to show you on that today. I think I was out in the field yesterday talking with the tree people about how we're going to go about planting the trees, and I believe our people are going to be out starting to remove pavement next week as soon as we get utilities located. And the plan is to have this looking really nice by Earth Day is the target. April 22nd, there's going to be trees there, and it's going to look nice. The other area that we're working in, is Castle Point, and we're trying a comprehensive traffic calming plan there. So we're going to throw out more of the tools from the toolbox. And this is a toolbox we've been working on for a long time, and we're going to be trying things that are new for our roads. We're going to be using a combination of techniques. We're going to be using what's called chicanes and chokers, which is where we have bump outs into the road that kind of narrow the road in places. It forces drivers to pay more attention to the road. It's not looking like it's a straight shot anymore. It's going to have a little bit of a meander to it. So people have to slow down to navigate that. By narrowing the road, it causes people to feel like the sides of the road are closer to them, and that makes people drive slower. I'm sure everybody here can relate to, you're driving down the highway and you might be zipping along until that truck pulls up next to you, and all of a sudden that road feels a lot closer, a lot narrower, and you slow down a little bit. That's the type of effect that we're looking for. We narrow the road in places, and that forces people to think that they need to be driving slower. And we're also going to be putting some speed humps in. That's kind of a new thing for us, you know, and it's new to our department. It's a tool that's been in the toolbox for years, and it's evolved. You know, many of you may be familiar with speed bumps, which are, you know, those rounded off humps of asphalt in parking lots a lot of times. A speed hump is a little more engineered than that, so it's a flatter top, and it's actually designed rather than just someone slap something down on the road. So it looks a little nicer, but it does present other issues. You know, especially in the neighborhood, you're going to find that every car, whether it's speeding or not, is going to go over it. And every car is going to do the thunk, the thunk, the thunk thing. So, you know, it's something that, it's a tool we can use, but it's not necessarily something we want to use widespread. To do it properly requires us to actually build it into the road, not just throw something on top of the road. So, you know, there's that aspect as well. And, you know, our research thus far has been finding that a lot of places that use them, they don't plow those roads. So that's something that's going to be a learning curve for us too, is to try and figure out how we're going to do our normal road maintenance or snow removal, things like that, in a neighborhood where we have now put obstacles in the road. So again, it's something new for our department to use, but it's not new as a concept. So it's something we're going to try, and we're going to see how that works. So that plan, you know, we're going to be presenting to the residents next week, and the idea is to have construction sometime this summer, I would think. You know, we're kind of finalizing some things, and again, it's a limited budget, so we're not sure we're going to get everything we're trying to do, but we at least want to get some of these things out there to show that there's more things we can do, and hopefully, if it works, we'll find funding in the future to be doing this in other places. So that kind of comes back around to our limited funding and how we actually are keeping up with our pavement. So right now our budget is tens of millions of dollars a year short of what we need it to be in order to maintain the pavement at the rate that we'd like to. So, you know, every time we try to do some of these new things and add on things, you know, that's money that we can't put to just doing the pavement because we have the extra things we're trying to do to make a better system overall. Last year we came out with our action plan for biking and walking. And so that kind of comes up with some of the ideas like having bicycle lanes, having shared use paths, more ADA compliant sidewalks, and we're really putting that into more projects. So every project we do now is going to include more of those elements, but obviously the more elements we put into a project, the more expensive that project is going to become, and with the budget not growing, that means fewer projects. So, you know, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get out there and resurface all the roads as quickly as we'd like to, but we are going to try and maintain everything as best we can. So, you know, if there's potholes and rough areas, we'll come out, we're still patching that, we're still doing all that. But as far as actually, you know, digging out the road and repairing the base of the pavement and resurfacing everything, that's going to take a little bit longer to get to. That said, we do have a few projects coming up in the next few years here. Next year we have a project on Washington that'll be under construction. Redmond, New Florissant. Those projects are wrapping up design now, and those will get built next year. We got a project on Charbonnaire that should be ready to go to construction the year after that. So I'm just going to leave it at that, and I can answer questions later, but I just wanted to give you a taste of some of the things that we have coming out. Potholes? Potholes. Okay, yeah, if you need potholes filled, we'll still take care of those. You can call our department and talk to our dispatch. That's one route you can go. You can report those through our website. If you're ever in doubt about who you need to talk to in our department, I'm here, and you can get a hold of me, and I can direct those things. So, you know, we're out there, we're doing potholes as we can. You know, we're shorthanded, so, you know, it takes us a little longer sometimes to get to those. And, you know, those same people that are filling the potholes are the ones doing some of these smaller projects for us, like the pavement removal project that we're doing next week. So, you know, we're trying to balance as best we can with the limited people that we have and the limited dollars.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Adam. situation where those people are coming around in people's yard. I mean, literally, they put up barricades to see if they can slow it down. 95% of the people adhered. That 5% though, that 5% literally is getting out their car and moving the boulders so they can drive through people's yards. Or they will go up the hill and drive through the other person. I was like, literally, they had Ring doorbell cameras, video, showing people getting out their car and moving the boulders so they can drive through someone's yard instead of just taking another path like everybody else did. So what I'm trying to say, sometimes we can't legislate common sense, right? You do your best, but there's still going to be some. So I'm appreciative of everybody staying with me. And I also want to make sure that I say this to Mr. Adams. So when I called, I called, right? And I said, well, this is going on. They said, well, we don't have budget. I said, okay, this is the real deal here. Either you want to deal with somebody's life, ended tragically because some person was going 70 miles an hour in a residential on this curb and they lost control and went to those people's driveway or went to their house and their grandkids was outside. We want to deal with that, or do we want to try to put a barrier up? And they responded. And I didn't get too loud on the phone, did I? I mean, I was tapping. Okay. I try to be tactful. I was raised a Southern girl. Anyway, not her though. Anyway, at this time, I'm going to turn the microphone over to the team that's been patiently waiting, the Fools Rap team. Why are we having this conversation? I want us to have concrete information. I don't deal with gaslighting. I don't deal with misinformation. I hold people accountable. I want people to be truthful. And so that's why we get in this update right now. There's been so much in the news. And believe me, I'm an engineer, and I still can't parse through all of it. Not that engineers are better people, I'm just saying I'm a nerd, I like numbers, I like to read stuff and figure out the problem to get a solution. Still overwhelming. So I've asked this team to come to share information, and then we'll have questions afterwards. So at this time, PJ or John, okay, great. JP, I'm sorry, I said PJ. John, all right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having us. Again, if you have any of these in the future, we'll come anytime, any day, whenever. We're always available. I'm Jonathan Rankins. I'm a senior health physicist with the Fools Rap team, the Corps of Engineers. And I will remind you, we are the federal government, and to do this in 5 minutes is virtually impossible.
We're going to learn today.
As most of you are probably familiar with the North County sites, we have the St. Louis Airport site, otherwise known as SLAPS. We have the Leidy Avenue properties, and we have the St. Louis Airport site vicinity properties. The SLAPS VPs are what we're going to focus on tonight real quick. I'm going to give you an update on where we're at with everything. And here you can see an overview of most of the SLAPS vicinity properties along Coldwater Creek. There's 14.2 miles of river miles of Coldwater Creek that runs south of our St. Louis Airport site all the way to the Missouri River. As you can see on this map here, we've highlighted Janney Elementary School, where we have recently deployed our teams to do extensive testing at Janney Elementary. Next slide, please. As you can see here, we have been out to Janney since 2016. We have done thousands of measurements outdoors of the soils at Janney Elementary, and more recently we deployed our team to test the surfaces of the school itself, both inside and outside, the playground, all of the accessible surfaces inside the school, things like ceiling fans, ductwork, the boiler room, utility rooms, gymnasium, desks, etc. So next slide. Here's an image of the Coldwater Creek that is behind Jan Elementary. It's approximately 650 feet in a straight line if you walk out the back of Jan Elementary down to Coldwater Creek. In the background, just to kind of point over the elevated area 2, you walk 650 feet back, that's Jan Elementary's, the school structure itself, okay? So as you can see here, there's elevated area 1 and there's elevated area 2. Those are the 2 areas that we are going to be excavating in the banks of Coldwater Creek. And as you can see on that image as well, for context, one of our engineers was out there. There's about a 20-foot drop off of the edge of the from like top of bank down to the toe, so to speak, of where the contamination is that we will be removing. Again, here's just some numbers on the total number of measurements and types of measurements that we collected inside the school and outside the school. Just some of the history, you can skip to the next slide. From a radiological standpoint, the school is safe. There is no contamination whatsoever in or outside the school. All of the thousands of measurements that we collected and samples that we analyzed, we found nothing above the normal range of background concentrations of radioactive material that you would find at any school. Upcoming progress on our testing. We have 3 documents coming out very imminently. They are currently undergoing regulatory review. The state of Missouri, the EPA, the Department of Energy are all reviewing these documents that you see listed up here. We have the school structure itself, what we're calling a final status survey evaluation. That will have all the results for the school surfaces. We also have a lead-210 report coming out in conjunction with that report. That will describe the lead-210 status or concentrations of lead-210 in and around the school. And we will also have a soils, like the land evaluation of the soils at Jan Elementary. Next slide. Remediation of those areas that we were looking at in a few previous slides. We have begun we have deployed crews to clear brush and civil survey the area for future remediation. We are currently working on our remedial action work description and design. That will be completed in June, and we should begin active remediation tentatively end of June. June 19th actually is the exact date. We plan to start removing contamination from the creek banks. McDonald Boulevard Bridge replacement. The counties, we've been working with the St. Louis County for quite a while now. We are planning on finalizing the design and work description for our contractor in June as well. The bridge is coming down this fall, and we are going to have an opportunity. They're going to do a road closure of McDonald Boulevard, so we're going to have an opportunity to remediate the contamination that is under the bridge and the contamination that is under McDonald Boulevard. So there's a significant amount of soil, contaminated soil that's under McDonald Boulevard. Preliminary right now, we're estimating over 61,000 cubic yards of material, and which is, large volume of soil that we will be disposing of. Next slide. Ball fields phase 3. We are still actively remediating the ball fields, which is just north across McDonald Boulevard from the St. Louis Airport site. We are in the final stages of finishing the ball fields in total. This will wrap up We are in the southwest corner of the ball fields. This will tie into the McDonald Boulevard Bridge replacement work that we have upcoming this fall. Next up. For Shaw Road areas, we have been actively remediating the shoulder / right-of-way of Pershaw Road that had NBDAC contamination. And we will be finished with the removal probably next week, and we will finish restoration of that area end of April. I think I did it in under 5 minutes.
Thank you, John. So here, everybody, go ahead. Go ahead. Patience and grace, everybody. Patience and grace.
You specifically asked us about Fort Bellefontaine and Hazelwood football field and Janet Elementary. I gave you that. Fort Bellefontaine. We are at the finish line. We're at the 1 yard line. I'm getting a right of entry agreement with the county to access the park. We need to. It is the last property up to the Missouri River. It is the last property that we need to sample. We have approximately 100 locations to actually sample and do testing on. We also, when it comes to the football field and Hazelwood School District in general, we have partnered with the Army Geospatial Center. We are doing an assessment of North County. We are assessing, reassessing. We've listened to the community concerns. We are reassessing on a broader umbrella approach to a historic movement of soils in North County. That would include all of the Hazelwood School District properties and beyond. Okay, so we will be coming out with that information, September, October timeframe. We will have an assessment done of historic movement of soils, not just immediately around Cowater Creek, but the broader North County area.
Thank you, everybody. Just really quick, I wanted to make sure that you understand everybody that spoke here today. They said this was just an overview based on the context that you all shared with me. Every organization has a meeting. There's no way that you're going to get everything here. It's just to give you an update. But if you want in-depth, there's a monthly community meeting that Foods Web hosts. I've been there multiple times, sometimes virtually, sometimes in person when they had it in person. There is a monthly meeting for the Port Authority. You can join it virtually. Not so much for the Department of Transportation, but when I call them, they're willing to come to a meeting. So again, I just want you all to know, and the police department, I'm sorry, monthly board meeting, April 12th. Okay, and we will get this information on our website as well, so you all can know this. So you don't have to fish everywhere. You can just go to one pond, and we'll hopefully have everything that you need. I'm a Walmart girl. I want everything, my groceries and my toiletries, one place. Anyway, so here, we're wrapping things up, but it's time for your engagement. And so before we get in there, going through the questions, I need to know how much you know about your councilwoman, because I've been serving for a couple of years, and I feel like if you don't know me, that's on you. I ain't taking that one. I'll take a lot, y'all, but I'm not taking that one. So let me ask this question. Do you all know how many children I have? Anybody? Not till you raised them. You're not till you raised them. Not you raised them. So as you can tell, it took a village to raise them Webbs. The Webbs. Any guess? 3 boys. Nah, I'm not that strong a woman. Just 3. Just 3. One other question. What city am I from? Because I'm a migrant here. Anybody know where I'm from? You can't tell. Let me see. Somebody got to know. I'm just looking for a place.
One hint, UGK rap.
Florida? No, not Florida. I'm south, though. I'm south. Anybody else?
Houston.
Not quite, not quite. Right here. Port Arthur, Texas. And UGK came from Port Arthur, Texas, a rap group from the 90s. You have to be from Port Arthur to listen to him. My husband went to college with him at PV. Last question, what university did I attend? I attended a HBCU, a proud graduate of HBCU, one of the oldest HBCUs
Good trouble.
established in 1866. Anybody have a guess? No, I pointed at Tennessee State though.
I heard somebody say
I
it.
got my education of Mr. Beard. Fisk University. I'm a graduate of Fisk University. And I have an alumni who tell me, honorable, Mr. John Lewis, say, stay in good trouble. So I think everybody can vouch that I stay in good trouble. And I only do that to serve you all. So I'm glad that you've learned something about me if you didn't, and if you haven't contacted me, on the back of that brochure it says, I need to hear from you. Now, Shantae may hear it first, but I'm going to get to it, right? But we do. I'm so sincere about that. We want to hear from you. So at this time, everybody, if you can grace us about 15 more minutes, we want to go through some Q&A. If you cannot, I understand that. I appreciate your sacrifice up until this point. So I'm going to turn the mic over to
If we could
Shantae
just start with one question. There are a lot of MoDOT questions, and I think you want to address all of the issues surrounding MoDOT. And I know Ms. Rochelle's in the audience who really wants to hear your voice.
Okay, so what we got? Anything specific?
Well, they're talking mostly about the trash in MoDOT, okay. The unsafe conditions for this construction there, and those are the items that we have addressed, that we're addressing with.
So first I will acknowledge to all, not just Ms. Rochelle, that the MoDOT I-70 project is a good, 270 project is a good project. No questions, ands, or buts about that, right? That was well overdue. Now, the issues with some of the project, whether it be trash or how much they keep it tidy, we have been interacting with MoDOT. Back when Ms. Bethany, she's no longer there, when she was serving as the North County liaison for the project, it was like, hey, debris, was flying, and when the wind comes, it was going everywhere. The vehicles that was doing the work were, to me, could have been parked a little bit better so they wouldn't be a hazard to some extent. Now there is a new point of contact, and I haven't met with her directly. In fact, there's been two since Bethany Williams left that are served in their project, so that must be a hard job, y'all. But since she left a year ago, there has been two people that has served in this capacity. I will meet with the new representative within the next couple of weeks. But again, these concerns have been voiced. This is not a county control situation. And I'm glad we're learning this. Okay, 270, not county. Parker Road, county, right? 367, not county. So again, I have been working with them. They've been responsive, but this concern with how they keep the road as they're doing this new project, it has been voiced, and the concern is there. Even the safety factor has been shared with them as well. So I don't have a direct answer saying, yep, they're going to clean it up on this day, but I will work with them continuously. I'm going to give some grace to the new person that serves in that role, because I don't think she's even been there for 3 months yet. So, all right. Anything else that concerns
There were several questions with the Army Corps of Engineers. Where are you taking that soil, and how are you disposing of it? So that's a question. Yes.
You're good on the first time. Don't mess me up.
The soil that we excavate and haul to our loadout facility at the St. Louis Airport site, it gets shipped by rail to a licensed disposal facility out of state. It's actually, there are two facilities that we use currently. One is in Michigan, Wayne, Michigan, and one is in Idaho. U.S. Ecology operates them. They're now owned by Republic Services. Also Westlake Lakeville. So
will the homes around
comes full circle.
Will homes around Jana be tested and remediated? Or you were talking outward?
Yes. The floodplain along Cowater Creek, all of those homes have been tested, and it will continue to be tested as needed as we progress through our comprehensive remediation project. Good.
I'm trying to group everybody's questions just because you don't hear a specific one.
Again, this is an overview. If we need to have a more focused town hall on a specific topic, we will. This is our first one of this quarter, the first one for this year. And so usually I do a very focused town hall where there's no crime, where there's no Jamestown. Because there were so many interests, I did a multitude of things this time. That's why it's just surface level, but I hope it was some value-added information. So we're going to go to the next set of questions for
transportation and public works. Concrete in my community instead of black asphalt. That's kind of the pothole situation. Did you want to just, or how are you covering roads now, and what's the process?
So when we build a new road, it usually goes in as concrete, but not always. Sometimes it goes in as asphalt from the beginning. That just has to do with material costs at the time of construction. As we repair things and do patches and potholes, we use asphalt because that's the material that's easiest to fill into a hole to create a patch. Same thing when it comes to sidewalks. Sidewalks go in as concrete originally. When we go out and do the repair work, though, we don't have the resources to tear out the square of concrete and put it back, so we'll do an asphalt repair. At such time that we come through with an actual roadway project, that's usually when the sidewalk will get repaired and replaced with concrete, curbs get replaced with concrete at that time. If we're talking about a subdivision street, a lot of those that are concrete, we can do slab replacement and just replace concrete slabs that are damaged. But a lot of places we're finishing our roads. Because we're so tight, we can't do the reconstruction that some roads need. So what we do is we'll do spot repairs where we'll cut into the pavement, we'll tear it all the way down to its base, we'll repair that spot, and then you have concrete that's uneven with the rest of the concrete. So we end up doing a finishing overlay of asphalt to make that smooth surface. So a lot of roads now, when we do resurfacing projects, they end up as asphalt. And subdivision streets, if and when we get around to doing those, we'll do concrete replacement and replace it in kind.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Chambers and Airport Road. So we have projects coming up. I believe, and it's just outside the district, so I didn't actually write it down, but I believe Airport Road is, I think we just bid that. That would be the section of Airport Road in the city of Berkeley primarily, starting at around 170 and going to New Florissant, I believe.
That's not my district.
Yeah, it's outside of the district, which is why I didn't write down the notes myself.
I'm being facetious, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
So, but we're going to be resurfacing that, and I believe that work should be starting later this year. And when that project is completed, we're actually doing a road diet as well. So instead of being 2 through lanes in each direction, it's going to be 1 through lane each direction. I believe a center left turn lane and buffered bicycle lanes on either side. So there'll be a space and then the bicycle lanes, so the bicycles are not right next to the moving vehicles. And doing sidewalk as well. And then we are, as part of that, we've got some work coming up on Chambers in Ferguson. We actually have projects on Elizabeth north of Chambers and Elizabeth south of Chambers. And where it's all coming together, we're going to replace the signalized intersection with a roundabout, and we're going to continue that lane diet that I talked about in Berkeley. We're going to carry that through to that roundabout. So ideally, by having fewer lanes, we condense the amount of traffic into less space, so people have to drive slower. And the roundabout eliminates left turns that you have at a signal. So that reduces the severity of any crashes that do occur. You don't get those T-bone accidents where somebody turns left and someone plows right into you. You know, in a roundabout, the crashes are more rear ends or side swipes, things like that, which, you know, they result more in property damage, less in injury and fatality. So it does reduce the number of crashes because people have to drive slower, be more alert, and the crashes that do occur are less severe. So, and again, I think that project is next year, I think. But if whoever was asking about that, if you contact me, I can get you more specific information when I have my cheat sheets. How long does asphalt last? So, I would say that typically the roads should last, you know, when we do a resurfacing, you know, that should last about 15 to 20 years. You know, it should, you know, sometimes it does need, you know, we'll still have to go in and fill potholes over the course of that 20 years. You know, ideally there's intermediate treatments that we should do to that pavement over the course of the 20 years, and sometimes that can stretch it out to 30 years. But unfortunately with our budget the way it is, we kind of got away from doing a lot of intermediate steps. And so, you know, we're kind of getting to that point where we're just trying to keep everything, hold it all together as best we can. So, you know, we are stretching out to, you know, close to that 20 years rather than 15.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Thank you so much. Hey, I want to highlight something. Those projects that he's talking about that cost money. So, y'all been watching those budget meetings that we're having, or at least you're aware of them, where we're trying to look at the budget and see where we can get more revenue. Well, there's some education material about Prop M I think you all should pick up and read over. We need more revenue. So that may be an avenue. So get information about Prop M. That also may be a revenue for our subdivision roads. Because let me make sure we understand this. Our subdivision roads are not covered in our bridge and roads regular budget. So when there's a subdivision issue, that is not covered with our regular bridge and roads budget. Subdivision roads are not considered in that. So they have to find extra funding to go and do those projects. And so we need more revenue in the county. Again, learn about Prop M. That's all I can say about that. An educational tool, I have a specific question before we go to the next group. I would like to, for Public Works.
Oh, we're talking about him.
Okay. We have lots of questions about Public Works. So Mr. Ralph and Mr. Mike, y'all want to come to the mic?
If anybody has found a cell phone, we are missing a cell phone.
Oh, that would be mine right there.
Is somebody missing a cell phone? I mean, if anybody pick up, I know you're missing a cell phone, that's what I'm talking about. If someone sees a cell phone, we are missing a cell phone. I ain't gonna get a number.
Whole team ready, Chantel.
All right, so the bigger questions are grass cutting, also brush that's growing up and over people's fences and along people's fence line, and there was another one. You can start there and I'll find the other.
Okay, well first of all, just want to say hi to everybody. I'm Ralph Walker, St. Louis County Property Supervisor. What I deal with is basically vacant properties and those properties that might be occupied that normal inspector did everything they could do with it, and might need a little bit more teeth to get some resolution with the problems that that inspector come to. We've also got 2 police officers that arrive with 2 of our inspectors, and those are the 2 units that we assign to those issues. I've got an abatement team that's comprised of, at this time, 3 laborers, and they go to those vacant properties where you got the illegal dumping, the overgrown vegetation, and all those issues that a next door neighbor would have a problem with. Thank you to Councilwoman for supporting us, where she's helped facilitate to the point where we can double those teams. Mind you, those teams are responsible for the entirety of unincorporated St. Louis County, so they can be down in Lee May one day and up this far in Spanish Lake, Glasgow, and Castle Point. In regards to the grass, we're scheduling our inspectors to do our initial sweep of all of the vacant properties and properties that have got high grass on them right now. We're going to do that on the 10th of next month. We have to issue those tickets, give the owners time to take care of themselves. A lot of the vacant properties, we know that it's probably not gonna be taken care of, but once we do that re-inspection, I'll assign that to a contractor, and they will get started on cutting that. During the initial push, it takes a little bit of time, so mind you, we've got all our inspectors, we'll have a couple hundred properties that we'll put on the contractor immediately, so it takes them time to get their wheels rolling. They will be cutting them. Each team, they have like about 3 teams, they do about 20 to 25 properties a day. So with weather permitting, it takes at least about a month for everything to get caught up. So we will be addressing each and every one of those. If there are properties that we not necessarily overlooked, but they haven't reached the 8 inches and we could issue a violation on them, you can still contact our departments and we will come out there, inspect it, issue a notice, and get started on the process of getting the grass cut. Overgrown vegetation, as far as like the bushes and trees that are overgrown, those are a little bit of a better way to put that. It takes a lot more time for us to do it. Remember, I've got three guys, and cutting, if we do one property, it takes a whole day for myself and those 3 guys to cut all of the overgrowth on the property. So we do our best to, when we're cleaning the property, to cut the front and the sides, to at least give a little curb appeal until we're able to get back with possibly some volunteers, or sometimes we use agencies like the probation and parole just to give us a couple extra hands to help us out and move things along.
And that question also went for occupied homes. Somebody's parking on the grass in front of the house, on the front yard, and for occupied homes where vegetation is growing up and around. So it might be a mic question.
Okay, that's a mic, and just so you understand, it's people hear problem properties, and they think just every problem that's at a property comes directly to the properties unit. It does go to the, I forget what your title is, sir. He's the assistant chief, and he's in charge of inspectors that inspect all the occupied homes. So, Michael, go ahead and answer that question.
My name is Mike Height. I work out of the North Office, and I want to say thanks to Jason and Officer Bell. Those 2 must never sleep because they always answer the phone and text. Go ahead and go around the They put out a lot of fires, and whenever we call on them, they answer. I don't know if you ever given me any time off or not. But in reference to overgrowth, we call it overgrowth along the fence line. We take and we find out who the owner is on the other side. We just write them a notice of violation, and we try to make contact with them and ask them to cut it back at least 10 feet. There's kind of like a rule of thumb. What was the other question? Oh, parking on grass. We don't have an ordinance that says like parking on grass. You have to park on a driveway. You have to park on a hard surface. Is what the ordinance says, and we write a lot of tickets for that also. Normally, if we find a vehicle that's parked on grass, you always find clogged gutter, peeling paint. You always find debris or trash on the property too. So they don't only get a notice of violation for that, but they get one for everything that's going on. And we encourage to call us and let us know, and we'll go address it as quickly as possible.
That's another Ralph question and kind of a Councilwoman Webb question. That $11 million for derelict properties, where are we with it, and how is that money going to be used?
Hi, I'm Bill Walter-Scheid. I'm the Division Manager of Code Enforcement, and just briefly though, I want to tell you that our website, we've got a lot of this information, and we're at St. Louis County Mo.gov, and you want to navigate to the Transportation and Public Work page. Our number is 314-615-5184. You can give us a call. There's also a nice RCES service on there, resident customer service, where you can put in a ticket for complaint against high grass, things like that. So I ask you to look at the website. Now, as far as the $11 million demolition money, that's an ARPA project. So that's federal money that we're currently in talks with Dwight is helping us make sure we appropriate that the correct way. It comes with a twist, and is that it's not just for demolition. That's the easy part. You've got to provide some improvement to the parcel. And so that's really what's being discussed right now. We're working through it, but we just haven't gotten to a point where we made a decision on actually deciding where that money is going to be spent.
So just to elaborate, sir, so when I put that legislation forth, it was for all unincorporated St. Louis County, and being inclusive of South County as well. However, North County has the most derelict properties, and specifically in areas like Castle Point and some other areas where we have quite a few of those properties. Now that I've learned more about the new twist, about making sure we put something positive there, or we make sure it's maintainable, something to that sort, I am still looking to get some free demolition work. And so I'm working on, I just had a meeting with the attorneys because last year, cleanup buildup came into Castle Point and was ready to tear them houses down. I mean, they were standing on one leg. They didn't even have a roof on some of them. But we, due to our ordinance and some of our rules, we could not accept that gift of demolition. So I'm working so we can accept that gift of demolition so that maybe we can use a little bit more money from that $11 million to help put something positive there. But what I don't want to do is we tear down 1 or 2 houses and we say we're done. That is not the intent at all. And I'm more than happy to give Captain's intent to help explain and to ensure that we actually do something that's going to move the needle. And I know Ralph is heavily engaged and your office is heavily engaged. I mean, all of you are heavily engaged. But we want to be transformational in that. And it's not just for a onesie-twosie type situation. So if we can leverage from some of the freer opportunities and leverage the $11 million, I think that would truly be transformational. So again, thank you all, and I keep bothering them too. They don't get away from me. Hey, I know do we have another? Okay, I think that's all for you, gentlemen. We're going to entertain one more question for the police. Thank you, gentlemen. Everybody, can we give them a round of applause? 15 minutes. Oh no, like 15 minutes after the hour. Yeah. I appreciate the grace. We're going to entertain this last question from the police department, and then I have a couple of announcements, and I promise you can have the rest of your evening without my voice in it.
It's kind of like a multi question. How are we supporting our police officers with mental health, being overworked and overwhelmed with calls, and is there, I think it says PPE funds to help with the funding shortfall? That's a no. And people running stuff. We already did that. So how are you supporting mental health
for our police officers? I think that's very important.
If you find a phone, let us know.
Yes, mental health is very important. And back in 2002, we established our CIT team, Crisis Intervention Team. And that was a copy from Memphis, Tennessee. They had been working with mentally ill people during that time. We established our CIT unit in 2002, and since that time, our CIT unit has become nationally known for the work that they do with the mentally ill. We have CIT reports. We have trained all our officers to be CIT officers. Not all of them, but for the most part, matter of fact, I was asked the other day, how do we get everybody trained? On our department, we have about 500 CIT officers trained. When the officers dispatch to a call where there might be some type of mental condition with the citizens that they're responding to, they'll request a CIT officer to come out, and they're specially trained to handle those people with certain issues. We have a lot of resources. Back when I was on the street, and we have a call dealing with a mentally ill person, maybe they were homeless, issues like that, we had nothing to do with it. I mean, we spent the rest of our night trying to find a place to get them secured, maybe a hospital or whatever. They wouldn't take them, family members wouldn't take them, and we spent a lot of time trying to do something with them, and eventually we couldn't. A lot of those people went to jail unnecessarily because we could find nothing to do with them. Now we have a ton of resources. We have a ton of resources where we have them come out to assist us, get them housing, get them, we can sign affidavits to get them admitted to a hospital for treatment, and we have resource people to take over from that point on, get our officers back on the street. So we have a great CIT unit, and not only is it in St. Louis County, but we train statewide.
The question was, how do we support your mental health?
I'm sorry?
The mental health for the police officers who are overworked. How do we support your mental health?
Question, my bad.
We just trying to help y'all.
Right, I appreciate it, and we do. We have a wellness unit. We established a wellness unit for our police officers because they are going through a lot of things, and we have EPA. They have certain issues. If you see those issues, we have an ABLE. We started ABLE training, and ABLE training is it's intervention. It's intervention. If I see one of our officers out of line over excessive force using on somebody, I see that happening, I have the opportunity to stop them from doing that, just to stop that situation. If our officers coming to work and we see a difference in his mental condition, we're responsible for reporting that to try to get them help. Now they have to accept it, but we take it upon ourselves to get them treatment. So yeah, the wellness unit has done a lot for our officers, and they do have someone that they can fall back on for assistance.
All right, thank you.
All right, everybody, we're about to wrap up. One more question that nobody put there.
We have a few more.
We have a few more that we will probably have to answer online because it's almost 8:30. But there's one topic that we did not elaborate on, but I showed my priorities up there, and that is food insecurities. Grocery stores, farms. So we, from ARPA spending specifically for District 4, we established some funding for seed programs for some of the minority farmers, and all farmers, I'm sorry, in this area. We also had the Rustic Roots. If you've not been to Rustic Roots, please visit. We've given funding for them for equipment. We're looking at all alternatives. We're looking to do extensive farmers market in this area. At one time we were looking at Schaefer's Bend Park, but we are trying to find another location. But someone's here, and I'm putting them on the spot, that I have been working with for the last couple of years, not just on food insecurities, but being proactive and strategic about economic development for District 4, to be a part of a full campaign or help us establish a full campaign to rebrand North County. Look, everybody, you have this Wildcat Zoo that's coming. It's coming, whether it's a little slow or not, it's coming. It will be an international attraction. We're redeveloping Jamestown Mall. It's not going to be just a grass forever. First, we actually get it torn down after, what, 11 years, 12 years? But in any case, we also have some land right there in Bellefontaine off of 367 and 270, about 200 acres that could leverage some development there as well. If we triangulate that, and we make sure the corridors in between are not skipped over, but a part of the development, that reinvigorates all of this area. But it is not going to happen by happenstance. It's got to be strategic, intentional, and consistent. And so the man that I hold the feet to the fire for that is Mr. Rodney Krim. Come on now, Mr. Rodney Krim. Tell him what you want to do with that $5 million I put aside for food insecurities in District 4. He wasn't expecting it, but he showed up, and I appreciate you showing up, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Shara Webb. She's great to work with, and I do hear from her every week. And so, my other partners are, the Port Authority folks as well. So, together we're just really trying to make a difference and trying to find money. And I appreciate the conversation about the ARPA funds because the chairwoman went through a lot of work to get the monies for Jamestown Mall. And then she also went through a lot of effort to get the monies for the program she just discussed. And so we had a plan for how we were going to use part of that money. And now we have to kind of figure out, we got to pivot a little bit and find some other resources because of some of the complications related to the money. But we're in it to win it. We don't like to lose. And so we're going to figure this out, but we're going to continue to work together to do that. So, and then we got wonderful people like Ruth as the vice chair of the Port Authority. So everybody's kind of focused in the right way. The Port Authority is more focused on these type of things because they are economic development. They do provide goods and services and employment for folks, and that's all economic development. So, and improves quality of life. So, thank you, Council Chair. I'm glad to work with you.
I'm still going to call you this week. It doesn't matter if you showed up tonight, because I definitely need to know what's the game plan for a grocery store. In either case, again, I wanted you to hear intentionality about this district. Problem properties, that 800K, I was trying to get that just for District 4, but I was being nice and shared. I really would like to see that new team arrive and then get you all some help. I'm being sincere here. Because you all do a lot of work. Every time I call, they come out and do what they need to do to clean up an area. And it's not small cleanups, everybody. This mattresses and couches and overgrowth and all kinds of stuff that they're pulling out of our communities and doing it repeatably, right? So I thank you all. Everybody here, I hope that this was value added to your life about your community. Thank you all for those applause, but it's about you all. So let me share this with you before you walk out the door. This is not the only way to be engaged. Again, every entity here has a meeting. I know we can't show up all the time, but just because we don't show up all the time, that does not mean that we don't care about our community and we're going to give you a pass. We want to hold you accountable, but I need your voices too. Another way to get engaged, there are so many boards and commissions throughout for St. Louis County that we do not have representation on. Now, as you can see, I've reached out to people and ping people, so we can have some good, active, strategic, engaged representation. But there's so many more. I need you to help me with this. There needs to be a voice for District 4 on these boards. I need your help because I do have another job. I gotta pay the mortgage, y'all. I need your help to self-identify. Oh, you have too, you have too. You help with the mortgage, y'all, you help with the mortgage. I'm just playing. But I do need your help with these boards and commissions. So on the website for the district, there is a link to boards and commissions. Go through that. The Older Adults Commission, we have no representation. I tried twice. One person unfortunately got sick and couldn't continue. Another person never got a call back. So now I'm on them like, I'm not gonna say that one. But again, you wanna build an Older Adults Commission? There are so many more boards. Please contact our office. We will help you go through the process. I will literally call the boards and commission coordinator and say, I need a 3-way call with me, you, and the person so we can get them applied and we can get their background check and get it done. Did we get it done? All right, that's my one request. My second announcement to you all is tomorrow I was planning to do a cleanup with Mr. Brennan. Due to the weather, that has been canceled. It's rescheduled tentatively for the 6th of May. We'll have Steve and Shantae put an announcement up on Facebook. If not, but I just want you all to know that they will still honor at our May 6th event, if that's what we get to schedule, the vouchers, the 2 vouchers for a baseball game. Come on, everybody. I need some help here. I know you say, I pay my taxes. I'm not coming to help. This is ours. This is ours. I'm not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere. We got to work together to get it done. So again, the cleanup has been rescheduled for May 6th. Look out for that, but don't be out there tomorrow because I'm not going to be out there. Okay.
Virtual town hall, Thursday, April 13th. It is virtual to talk about reassessment.
Yes, I know a lot of you got bills. A lot of you will be calling the office. Hey, I'm not going to third party talk to you about it. We're going to get the man on the call, and he's going to work through all of our conversation. So that is the virtual meeting on April 13th. Please join in. It's virtual. Come on, call in. All right, I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you for your time. I am proud to represent, now I am grateful and thankful to represent and serve you as your community servant leader. What I want you to walk away from this meeting with hope, with accountability, and with purpose for our community. Don't let nobody tell you, look, I got too country too fast. Do not allow anyone to tell you that there is nothing in North County. I had a recent conversation with a leader from a company. And it's like, yeah, I moved out here and, you know, we have these amenities. We're gonna have more than those amenities. I may not be here the whole time, but we got a group of leaders that's willing to work. Not have a title, willing to work, to move the needle, to ensure that our community thrives. There will be a day when somebody from maybe West County, some other county, is gonna say, man, I've been trying to, where you live? Oh, I live off of Parker. Oh, I'm out here in Castle Point, because it ain't the Castle Point that you thought it was 10 years ago. Man, I've been trying to get out there for about 10, 15 years. Nothing's opening up. That's on you. Your bad. Because we love our community. So I leave you with hope, inspiration, and always, always reach out to me and hold me accountable. I'm not here for a title. I'm here to serve you. I'm not making a career out of this. I'm here to serve you right now, though. I thank you, everybody. Y'all have a good night.
On the bottom of your agenda are our phone numbers and emails. Someone's saying they're not getting our emails. Please send an email to me directly. Maybe I haven't entered in the database wrong. So please shoot us an email. If you're not in our database, shoot me an email and get in our database.